You have been taught to believe that your doctor has all the answers about your Crohn's and colitis questions and that there's only a lifetime of medication or surgery left ahead of you. But that couldn't be further from the truth. And so today, I'm going to be breaking down this narrative by telling you 5 secrets about IBD that your doctor will never ever in their lifetime say to you. And by the time that you're done watching this video, you're never going to see your IBD the same way ever again. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Josh Deck. I'm an IBD specialist, medical lecturer, physician's consultant, and the scientific strategist and education director for the Root Cause for Crohn's Colitis organization. And today, we're talking about the 5 things that your doctor will never ever tell you about IBD that you absolutely need to know. Here's the very first thing I want to talk about. There's an overarching concept that's going to govern today's conversation you need to have down. There are 3 reasons ever across the board that lead to your IBD. And here's what they are. The first one is going to be some kind of toxin. The next is a deficiency. And the third is some kind of microbe. Toxins are everywhere. They're everything. It's alcohol, chronically high blood sugar, chronically high stress, pesticides, environmental toxins. Mold produces toxins. Indoor recycled air is actually toxic for you to some degree. So there are some toxins that are large, some that are small, but they cumulatively fill your glass. Right? That's number 1. Number 2 is some sort of deficiency. Deficiencies of what? Well, deficiencies of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, electrolytes, fresh air, sunlight, exercise, things our body needs to thrive and build its defenses. The third reason we get sick is due to microbes. Now, this typically in the world of IBD looks like parasites, bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Those are the most common things that we see. The combination of these leads to the disease that you're experiencing. Now, this is one thing your doctor will never tell you, but this overarching, think of this like an umbrella that's going to sort of govern today's conversation. Everything else is going to sit underneath it today. And that's what I need you to know first. So then we got this concept down. I want to talk about the things that your doctor will never say that you absolutely need to know if you want to be directing the narrative on your IBD and your future, rather than leaving it in the hands of somebody else who clearly doesn't care that much about that same future. Okay? Whether they like to, whether they do, or whether they don't, it's irrelevant because nobody's going to care more than you. So let's talk about this. The number 1 secret you need to know, absolutely bar none, it is not what they've said that it is. It is not autoimmune. It is not genetic. And it absolutely is not idiopathic, which means unknown cause. It's not an autoimmune condition in most cases, the vast majority. That one right there stumps most people. I'll explain. It is not a genetic condition in the vast majority of cases, and genes don't even cause disease, and it's not unknown. I'm gonna break this down really quick, so we're gonna get into these a bit more as we go. Only 50 to 70% of all cases have any antibodies at all. But there are 2 types of antibodies. There are antibodies, which are defenders your body specifically makes to defend against an invader. The second type of antibody is an autoantibody when your body does attack itself. 50 to 70% of all cases of Crohn's and colitis have any antibodies, and there's a fraction of those that are actually autoantibodies attacking you, which means these antibodies are there to defend you against what? Microbes, toxins, or they're there due to deficiencies combining with these. The 3 reasons we get sick, okay? It's not genetic. There's only a family history 24 to 28% of the time. Some stats say as low as 10% there's genetics involved. But on top of that, genes don't work in a vacuum because genes are influenced by your environment, by toxins, by microbes, by deficiencies, by stress, by blood sugar, by everything. So genes don't work by themselves. We can't blame the genes. Something exploited those genes and made them react, or what's the word I'm looking for there? They made them either react or express themselves poorly. And to say there's no known cause is absolutely asinine. We know there are many, many causes. Again, mold, parasites, fungus, vagus nerve disruption, chronic stress and bacterial infections gone untreated long-term, all kinds of stuff. So this, again, not being genetic, autoimmune, or idiopathic, fits under our umbrella that we talked about of it being some sort of toxin, some sort of microbe, some sort of deficiency. That explains this whole fallacy that we've been told. So that's the first secret. The second secret that your doctor will never tell you is that your environment matters immensely. What counts as your environment? We know that indoor air, for example, and I know we can't breathe anything anymore, but here's the idea, okay? Indoor air, according to the EPA, that's the Environmental Protection Agency, is one of the top 5, if not top 3, pollutants to humans. One of the top toxins. Because it's mold, it's dust, it's dirt, it's VOCs from paint and chemicals and all these things that are recirculating. We just don't open our windows enough. We're meant to live outside. So simply opening your windows takes that down. What else is in your environment? We have all kinds of chemicals in our clothes. We have microplastics if you're wearing those. We have all kinds of chemicals in our world. Mold is a problem in 70% of US homes. We know statistically that 40% of asthma cases is attributed to mold. And in my practice, probably 80% of the clients I see have a mold layer, either the top layer or a layer in between, driving their IBD. A lack of sunlight, which again alters genes, it alters your detox pathways and mitochondrial energy production and detoxification pathways. We know this leads to deficiencies. We know that EMFs and Wi-Fi and 5G actually disrupt your gut lining and your blood-brain barrier, and it proliferates the growth of mold 400 to 600 times its natural rate. So our environment around us is actually directly contributing to how your body is developing, handling, or expressing diseases. So that's a major issue. Your doctor will never talk about your environment, but your environment is full of toxins that leads to deficiencies, and those toxins weaken your immune system, allowing what? Microbes to overgrow or invade, either fungus or other invaders. Your environment matters. Where we live, what we do, how much air we get, open doors, open windows, whether or not you turn your Wi-Fi off at night, do you keep your cell phone in your pocket all the time? Are you surrounded by electronics? It matters. It's not a tinfoil hat thing. This is like, you can look this shit up. Here's the next thing your doctor will never say. Secret number 3. I call them secrets because the world needs them, but nobody's saying them. That's why they're a secret. It shouldn't be a secret. But one thing your doctor will never tell you. They say IBD is random. I'm telling you right now, it absolutely is not. There are many predictable factors. You think about your genes, you think about your DNA, your biological makeup like a chain link. Everyone's got a weak link somewhere. And when you pull on that chain, the weak link is the first one to snap. If your weak link happens to be your bowel, guess what goes first? Here's a great example. My wife's family. They've all got different medical conditions. Her mom's got bowel issues and she's got some joint problems. My wife has histamine issues, so her immune system overreacts. We call it MCAS or mast cell activation. Her sister's got asthma. I've got gut issues. Guess what? All of us have been exposed to mold at some point in our life, but all of us are expressing differently because our weak link got pulled and that expressed differently. It's not random, right? We know genes don't cause it. It's not bad luck of the draw, right? We know cases are actually on the rise. Cases are growing exponentially. In fact, it is mostly a North American issue that we're seeing IBD. And I'll show you what that looks like, okay? Think about this. 20% of the US population has a diagnosis of IBS. 20%. On the other hand, depends on the stats you're looking at, but 60 to 70% of the entire US, even Canada population, complains of some kind of GI issue on a weekly basis. What does that mean? Well, gas, bloat, pain, constipation, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, cramping, whatever, at least once a week. So 70% are expressing some kind of GI issue that is in line with IBS. 20% went to the doctor to get a formal diagnosis. Now we know as well that 17% of IBD cases actually have a previous diagnosis of IBS. So if 70% of North Americans, which is astronomically higher than any other country in the world, okay, have some kind of gut issue in line with IBS, but only 20% either got the diagnosis or is bad enough to diagnose, 17% of IBD have a prior diagnosis of IBS. You know what that means? We can very easily say that IBS can progressively get worse and worse until it becomes IBD. That's not a wrong assumption at all. I've seen it in my practice where people had a little bit of gut issues that got worse and worse and worse and worse till one day it became Crohn's or colitis. So it's a progressive problem. Some people get unlucky enough to jump the bar overnight. It seems like days, weeks, or months, and boom, now they got this inflammatory process. But there was something under the surface. It's just a matter of how long it took to get you there. But either way, it's not random. Here's another thing we know. Cases overall have gone up by over 3,000% since the 1950s. 75 years, we've climbed 3,000%. We went from 15 per 100,000 cases in North America to 463 per 100,000 cases. It's like 0.05% or something insane dealing with a diagnosed bowel disease condition. And here's what more to it. North America, okay, I'm again saying Canada, US, we are less than 5% of the global population, yet we make up more than 50% of the world's cases of IBD. Is that random to you? Does it sound like it's just a genetic issue? Or does it sound like we have an environmental toxic issue in our country? You do the math, you tell me. Here's what's more. Again, less than 5% is about 4.7% of the globe. We make up nearly 70% of the global pharmaceutical profits. Sickness and disease makes up 18% of the United States GDP. That's gross domestic product, their income that they make. 18% is from three things: hospital care and stays and doctor's visits, pharmaceutical purchases and sales, and health insurance. 18% of the entire country's income, making up just under $5 trillion a year. How are we not asking more questions about this and still calling these diseases random? It's an us problem. When 5% has 50% of the issues, and when 5% makes up 70% of the global population or the global profits in pharmaceutical sales, it's not random. It's not genetic. And it sure as shit is not autoimmune in the vast majority of cases when we look at the actual data. And they start in two ways. Again, not random. It either starts really quickly, almost overnight, few days, weeks, months, or it's over many years, it progresses. Either way, it's a progressing disease that had a start and a trigger. No condition, no disease ever comes out of nowhere. You'd never go to your doctor and be like, man, my heel, I got this giant blister welt form. And you go, oh yeah, it's just a genetic thing. No, they go, are you wearing socks in your shoes? Are your shoes too small? Are you walking funny? What's actively causing it? Because we know inflammation is a protective healing mechanism. Yet what we do not do when it comes to IBD is look for the thing your body's trying to heal you or protect you from. All we do is go, oh shit, well, it's genetic. No. No, it is not, my friend. Absolutely not, which means there's a way through it. Another secret your doctor's not going to tell you. Now, this isn't malicious towards doctors. They just have a different training and a different skill set, and chronic inflammatory diseases are not one of those skill sets. That is not something doctors do. They can manage it and manage the symptoms, but they are not trained to go after root causes. It's not in their education at all. And part of this process that we see, your doctor says, eat whatever you want. When it comes to bowel disease, what do they say? Food doesn't matter. Absolute bullshit. Here's what you need to know. Food matters so much. This is third grade biology. That's like saying put whatever you want in your gas tank. You can fuel it with anything. Nope. Sure can't. You'll ruin a car. You put whatever you want in your gut, you will ruin a gut. Here's the thing. The most outrageous thing your doctor says is eat whatever you want. That would be like them saying, oh, your leg's broken. Doesn't matter how you want to treat it. You want to run, you want to walk, want to jump on a trampoline. No big deal. It doesn't matter. It's that level of dumb. So here's the thing. Food contributes to the integrity of your microbiome. If you think about your gut, kind of like fish in a fishbowl. We have all these little fish swimming around. The prebiotics is the fish food. Now, if you feed fish poison, what do? Belly up. They die. If you feed microbes poison, what do? Belly up. They die. And what happens is the toxic inflammatory producing microbes that damage your gut lining, lead to inflammation, lead to autoimmunity, they move in. And these guys are not so nice. And they take over. And what do? All the postbiotics, like the fish poop, all the postbiotics they do toxify your fish tank. It toxifies your gut, and the good guys can't grow anymore. Your food matters. Your food contributes to the quality and the integrity of your gut microbiome. They contribute to the overgrowth of parasites and fungus and all kinds of nasty business. In fact, the things you put in your body, there's something called terrain. If you think of it simply like having a garden, and inside of your garden, you want nice, rich, fertile soil where you can grow whatever you want to grow, flowers or food, you name it. But if you salt the earth and you pee in the garden and you dump all kinds of kitchen waste and chemicals in it, nothing's going to grow because you destroy the terrain. When we inflame our terrain and fill it with toxins and junk and emulsifiers and additives and all these things, polysorbate 80 and carrageenan, sugar alcohols, plastics and microplastics, it damages the gut lining, it erodes the terrain, and good guys cannot grow. If you want the good guys to grow, you need to feed them good things. You need to improve the terrain and detoxify it. What goes into your mouth matters. Your mouth is directly connected. It goes down to your esophagus, your stomach, small, large intestine, and it comes out your butt. Guess what? Your mouth is the top of your butt. So if you're worried about your gut, watch what you put into your mouth. Your oral microbiome also influences your gut. Weird how it all works when it's connected. It matters. Again, let's bring it back. We know that toxins, microbes, deficiencies lead to disease. When you're eating junk food, what does that do? It feeds nasty microbes, so we have microbes as an issue. They're full of toxins, and you're not nutrient-rich foods because they're processed and refined and artificial, so you are deficient. Toxins, microbes, deficiencies, once again. Everything fits under this umbrella. Here's the fifth secret. Your doctor says your only options are medication and surgery. But medication does not heal. There's no two L's in heal. Maybe I think medication is hell. I don't know, Freudian slip. Medication doesn't heal. It manages symptoms. Think about this. You go for a walk, you get a nail in your foot. A nail sticks to your foot. You go to your doctor. What are they going to do? They're going to look at you and go, whoo, nothing we can do about that. It's really rough, but it's part of your body now. It's just part of your DNA. Your only hope, I'm going to give you numbing cream for the rest of your life. And that's going to manage your pain. And if you can do that to manage your pain for the rest of your life, then guess what? You're going to be A-okay. Rather than pulling the nail out of your foot and figuring out where that came from, how it got there, and what you need to heal, they're going to give you numbing cream. That's a medication. Medications do not heal. They control. Numbing cream on the nail in your foot controls the pain, the swelling, the inflammation, but it doesn't remove the nail. It doesn't control the infection. You just can't feel it. So, medication doesn't heal. Remember, inflammation is your body trying to heal you from something. We just have to ask what it's trying to heal you from. What is the nail? Once we can identify that, we can reverse it. Suppressing your symptoms is just silencing your body trying to communicate with you. And those are the 5 biggest secrets your doctor will never, ever tell you, which is a travesty. Here's what you need to know. It is a fixable, reversible condition. I'm going to give you a couple of resources now that you can utilize for yourself and how you can get some help with this. I've got a ton of free stuff out there, wherever you're watching from. I got a Facebook group called it's IBD Support and Solutions. You can find that on Facebook. It's free to join. All the resources are free. I do these live every single week. The next place you can find us, of course, is YouTube, at joshdeck.health across social media. I've got a podcast called Reversing Crohn's and Colitis Naturally. You're like, man, I want to catch up on all these episodes, 45 episodes or something now that we've got at the time of this recording, probably 50 by the time you see it. All be found for free online, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen. It's called Reversing Crohn's and Colitis Naturally. But ultimately, here's the thing. If you say, man, this makes sense for the first time in a decade, 2 decades, I understand. Like there's a way through this. I can get help now, even though my doctor told me I couldn't. You're using your own brain. You're going, wait a minute. The math doesn't math. If it's not autoimmune, the stats don't add up. It's not genetic. Genes don't cause disease. We see that there's a massive rise in specific pockets of the world. Something must be causing it. My doctor doesn't have the answers. Who does? There's a lot of us out there. If you think I'm a weirdo, you're like, dude, whatever, see somebody else. I don't care. But get results from someone who can actually get you the results. And so if you want to get help, here's how you can do that. If you're watching on YouTube, you're listening on the podcast, directly below this video or this episode, you're going to see in the show notes there, I got an email address you can reach out. You can schedule a call. There's all kinds of free resources there. This is information the world needs because your doctor is not going to be giving it to you. But this is where you can get it.